Welcome, everyone. We'll get started in just a moment. All right, are we ready to get started? Greetings, everyone. Welcome to your dissertation summer. We're so happy that you all took the time to be with us this Sunday. We have a great time for us today in terms of our presentation. And in a moment, Polly and I will introduce ourselves. But as we do that, we just want to just greet you. Thank you for your participation. And I'm going to ask Kaylin if she will take us to the next slide so we can show our overview for the day. Okay, so this is what you can look forward to in the next hour. We are going to continue with the welcome. In just a couple moments, we're going to invite you to engage with us in the chat. And we're going to do that in a really special way. And then we're going to move to a framing about your dissertation summer in terms of what does that mean to us? What might that look like for you? And then we will slowly but surely invite you to just think really deeply about what support might look like in this season, in this particular season, as you look to advance your goals and your research. And we will do that by doing a grounding. We'll do a bit of a visualization. We'll invite you to do some journaling, and we'll do a bit of sharing in the chat, and then hopefully hear from a couple of you. And then Polly is going to lead us in your summer roadmap, where you'll get a chance to really think thoughtfully about month by month what you look forward to. And then we're going to have some time for some collective takeaways and sharing. And that will take us up to the hour. And then for those of you who have a bit more time, we'll have a little bit, about 5 or 10 more minutes to just engage in questions. And you'll learn a little bit more about the PhD program. So I hope that sounds good. If that sounds good, say I'm in the chat. Let us know that you're in and ready. And then we'll go to the next slide and we'll just do some formal introductions. So again, greetings. My name is Dr. Kalia Ai. I have the joy and deep honor to help lead PhD with Dr. Polly Hember, who you'll hear from in just a moment. My background is in education. I have been working with graduate students in particular for over 15 years. It is what I'm passionate about. There's so much hidden curriculum when it comes to the experience of doctoral students. And so I have the joy also of working here at a private Catholic institution. I'm here in Southern California, where I work as an administrator and also teach part-time. My degree was in leadership studies, which is an interdisciplinary degree that allows me to freely do a lot of work around capacity building. It allows me to help coach and support folks who are interested in doing good work, care-oriented work in a way that feels really aligned. And so I get to bring that into the ethos of PhD. And it's a joy to be with you. I'm going to give the mic over to Dr. Polly, and you'll get to learn a little bit more about her.
Oh, thank you, Clea, and thank you everyone for joining today. It's such a joy to be here with you all and to be talking about how to set ourselves up for a really beautiful and supported and sustainable dissertation summer. So a little bit about me. My name is Dr. Polly Hember. I'm an early career researcher. I'm a visiting tutor, a lecturer, researcher and writer, currently working at Royal Holloway University of London, where I've had 6 years of teaching and mentoring experience there, which has just been such a joy, such a privilege. I completed my PhD back in 2023, which was in cinema studies and English lit, where I looked at queer modernist networks there. And more recently, it's just been such a pleasure, such a joy being a PhD coach alongside the wonderful Kalia, and working with Kaylin and Kate to bring this program to life and to meet so many incredible PhD students along the way. And we'll go into a little bit more about the PhD ethos and what we're all about as we move through this workshop together. But at the core of it, it's just about wanting to make academia a more accessible, inclusive and supportive space for all. So I'm so proud of the work we're doing here. I'll hand back over to Kalia for our first little prompt for the session.
Thanks, Polly. So, Caitlin, if you wouldn't mind just going right back to that last slide, and if you can hit the present on Canva, that would be awesome. So we can be in full screen. Thank you. All right, so now we want to hear a bit about you. And so the way we want to hear about you is we want to start this hour with intention. We want to start by inviting you to celebrate yourself, right? So we are in June. That means most of you, if not all of you, have come to the end of your academic year. And I know that there's something that each of us get to celebrate from this past academic year, no matter how small or big it might be. Please go ahead and let us know in the chat what's a word or a phrase, something that you want to celebrate from this past academic year. And as you see the chat, I want you to also like take time to read a few of those, maybe like it, maybe offer a little reply, encouragement. Part of our time together is about being in community. I see the first word that came up that I'm able to see in the chat is survival. And I'm with you, affirming you for surviving. I know this has been a very, very difficult year for many of us. Words on the page, change, solidity, resilience, progress. Finishing my master's. Congratulations, Amanda. Well done. Finishing coursework. What a big milestone. This is perfect that you're here to already think about, okay, what will that, next step be in working on your dissertation? Got closer to professors, attended 3 international conferences, writing your thesis, and you did not die. You are still here. You are still here. Submit the paper. Oh my goodness. Please keep them coming. I hope I'm already feeling lifted just from reading and just witnessing what you all are celebrating. We wanted to start our time today with us having a sense of empowerment, feeling a sense of pride, feeling a sense of accomplishment, because that is what is going to help root us into this next stage. So I'm going to give it back to Polly and keep the chat going.
Oh, thank you. I was struggling to like every single comment that came through.
I know.
Like, what a beautiful, uplifting way to start. It's so nice to see all of this positive energy in the room and to be able to celebrate all of you together. This is wonderful. Kaylin, if we could go to the next slide, and then we're going to think through a little bit about what summer means to us. So within this, we'll be thinking about what momentum really looks like. And we also just wanted to give you a little bit of an idea of why we wanted to put this workshop together. It's around this real desire, this want to think through how to support and sustain your best dissertation summer. Because I think summers can be really challenging times for researchers, whether you're coming here today, you might be kind of some way through the PhD program, you might be thinking about what a PhD dissertation looks like, you might be kind of in the writing up stage. Wherever you are in your research journey, I think we can all agree summers are quite odd things. So for some of us, like myself and Clea, our teaching responsibilities may have eased up slightly. We finished our term, we finished our semester. So this is wonderful because it means there might be a little bit more writing or research time. For some, there'll be other work commitments. So your teaching might have just started up. I don't know whether Lizzie is in the room, but I know Lizzie, who is one of our PhD done members, has just started back up teaching. We might have other work commitments. Summers can often be quite demanding times. We're living in incredibly uncertain and quite vulnerable and disorientating times. And it's really hard maintaining our lives, our well-being, and our writing momentum throughout this all, as well as supporting ourselves and our communities. So summers can be a demanding time. They can also be a really busy time, whether we have lots of conferences booked into attending or presenting at, whether we have deadlines to meet, applications to submit. Madeline is working tremendously, who's another PhD done member, to submit some grant applications this summer. So I'm thinking about her putting that together. So we might have caregiving responsibilities, or as I said, other work modes that we might be engaging in. Or maybe it's a lovely and lively time full of wonderful social plans, or maybe some time away. Whatever your summer looks like, it will have unique demands, workloads, and deadlines. So what this means for Clea and I is that summers can feel at once really expansive, but also really overwhelming. So we often put a lot of pressure on deadlines and writing goals during this time. And, you know, it's often a time, if we are with institutions, if we are kind of part way through our PhD dissertation program, it might be a little bit harder to get hold of faculty or the institutional support or the structures that we need during the times where that guidance would be most useful. So this is where we believe our PhD done ethos can really help support you. So we want to think through how to create and support a sustainable rhythm that works for you, that allows you to move through this summer without stress, overwhelm, or isolation. So for Clea and I and our PhD done community, we believe that momentum isn't about pressure or moving fast. It's more about the choice to keep returning to what matters. It's about focusing first on really small, manageable, but meaningful steps, and showing up for yourself and for your work consistently over time, and building in a practice of rest as well that supports your research. We're often told to push through or power on, and that was definitely the things that I was told when I was doing my PhD, even when we're running on empty. And we know from, well, I definitely know from my own personal experience, that way lies burnout. And so instead, through PhD done, we think our best work, our best thinking, our best writing, and our best research takes place when you're not fighting yourself, and when we're well supported and well rested. So this session is all about thinking through what your own individual summer looks like, and we can create some flexible goals. It's an invitation to notice how your energy moves as you embark on this exciting summer, this wonderful time. And it's an invitation more broadly to work with, to find and to work with a rhythm that serves you. Some days, we all know, they might feel heavier than others, whereas other days we might find our ideas and our words coming really easily and really beautifully to us. And paying attention to those patterns, and noticing when we work best, what works for us, that's how we can craft a more sustainable and hopefully more joyful research practice. So as we move through this session, I'd like to remind us all of a couple of things. So first thing, here we go. You're not behind, and you're not alone. You don't need to be productive all the time to be making progress. Your dissertation summer is not a race. It's about finding a rhythm. Rest and thinking are all part of the work as well. You're allowed to pause. You're allowed to take breaks. Taking breaks, they're a great thing. You're allowed to experiment and be playful with the routines that you're trying out and setting up. We're finding out how we work best, finding out what rhythm will support our focus and our well-being. And we know these rhythms can also change as well. What works for one week might not work for the next. So let's build a research practice for your dissertation summer that honours and supports and fits into your life, not one that overwhelms it. Okay, so now we've set out our core tenets for today's session and given you a little taster about our PhD ethos. Let's move into our guided visualization practice. So Kalia, I'm handing this over to you.
Thank you, Polly. That was beautiful. Thank you for framing that for us today. Okay, so here at PhD, we have a methodology that supports our work called the Guide Framework. And we're not going to talk about that much today, but the beginning of that framework starts with our G, which is about grounding yourself. We want to make sure that we can take time to actually pause and ground ourselves before we go forward with our goal, so we can do it in an intentional way. And so the way we're going to do that today is through a visualization to envision your dissertation summer. So I'm going to guide you in a moment. So I'm going to invite you to take a posture that will support you receiving. So that might look like you, if you're on camera right now and you want to go off camera so you can lay down or sit on the floor or just find yourself in a more comfortable position, do that. Obviously, if you're driving or multitasking, stay safe. Just maybe perhaps just kind of focus on my voice. And if you are a person that knows that, kind of meditation type practices aren't necessarily for you, then maybe just listen to me and journal during this time. All right, let's begin. So I'll invite you now to soften your eyes or close them if that feels safe and comfortable. And if you are sitting, I'll invite you now to feel the weight of your body in the chair or on the cushion beneath you. I'll invite you now to also see if you can allow yourself to feel just maybe 1% more held. So see if you can just drop into that cushion just a little bit more. You've been holding so much today, every day, this academic year. So just allow yourself to feel supported. And so you might also just pay attention to your breath right now. I often like to invite our PhD scholars to take the most nourishing breath that they've taken all day. So I invite you to do that now. Take the most nourishing breath you've taken all day. Okay, so you've already named a win from this past year, whether that was a opportunity to present at a conference, whether that was a deepened connection, or simply your survival, as someone said. I just wanted to invite you just to see if you can just deepen that sense of strength and confidence that came with achieving that win this year. And I'll invite you to let that remembrance linger as we look ahead to this summer, as we envision this summer now. So I'll invite you to use your imagination and to picture yourself at the close of August. Perhaps the light is shifting. You might notice the time the sun sets or rises. You may feel the excitement of the semester being near or recently beginning. And as you have that vision, I want you to ask yourself, what do I want to be true by the end of this summer? What do I want to be true by the end of this summer? Might be a page count, it might be a word count or a clear idea. It might be a renewed relationship with your research, with your supervisor, with your advisor. It might be just a sense of confidence that maybe isn't there currently. Just notice whatever rises, whatever comes to mind now. And I'll invite you not to judge it, just be with it. Now, as you presence what you want to be true by the end of this summer, I want you to consider, what does momentum look like for you right now? What does momentum look like for you right now? What could it look like? And when we say momentum, we want you to think about that as alignment, movement. So an aligned movement, right, that works for you. So that might look like a steady rhythm of writing sessions. Maybe it's daily note taking with your literature. What does it look like? Just see if you can see yourself with a rhythm that aligns with movement for your research right now. And now I want to invite you to ask yourself, what support will I need along the way? What support will I need along the way? See if you can envision yourself receiving support. Who's around? Are they encouraging text messages? Is it a friendly face on Zoom or FaceTime? Is it pleasant strangers at a coffee shop that you used to body double? See if you can visualize, what support will you need along the way? Name whatever what would help you, would return to your work when things get out of rhythm. And so I want you to just see if you can presence all of what we just sat with. So thinking about that support, what that might look like, thinking about that momentum, what that might feel like, and thinking about what you want to be true by the end of this summer. And so if you have your eyes closed, I'll invite you to maybe gently blink them open. And just jot down a few words or phrases if that's available to you, whether in the chat or in your journal. Just what came up. Just take one moment to name what came up to you in your vision for your dissertation summer. And now we're going to just take it one step forward, one step deeper. And so we're going to go to the next slide. And we have a few questions for you. We want to invite you, and we're going to just give you a couple minutes here just to do some more journaling. What feels most alive in your research right now? What support do you actually need this summer? Right? So in that visioning, what did that look like? What did that feel like? And what's one gentle way you can keep coming back to your work this month, this summer? We'll take maybe 2 minutes here. And you'll journal. The chat is also available to you if you want to put things in the chat. And so as you just continue to journal what is coming up for you, we're going to take this one step further. In a moment, Polly will share with you about how you might think through and actually formulate your summer roadmap. And I'll be in the chat. So those of you who want to share more in the chat, I'll look forward to reading it and we'll be responding and affirming you there. Thanks, Polly.
Oh, thank you so much, Kalia. That was so beautiful. Really felt that calmness and also that like the joy of looking forward to August and the end of the summer in that excitable and positive way. So thank you so much for that. I hope it resonated with folks in the room as well. We'll now move to the next slide and we'll hold those anchors really close. They might be still forming. Again, we'd love to see them if you fancy posting whatever came up in the chat. We'll be looking out for those. But now let's think back to the start of that visualization. We know where we'd like to go. We know what the summer can hold for us. And we might have had this wonderful little taste, this sense of what it is, what it might be to be looking back on your incredible dissertation summer, having achieved everything you want to. So what we're going to do now is we're going to break it down and sketch out a month-by-month summer dissertation roadmap for you. This idea of breaking things up into more manageable and doable tasks, and then building in a sustainable realistic framework that's going to support and fulfill you in your research rather than overwhelming or panicking us. So this is what we do a lot with PH Done. It's breaking things down and celebrating those small steps because this way lies progress. And this is the way we can build and sustain that momentum in in a really beautiful way. So there's also no pressure here. Sometimes goal setting and these plans, there's often this resistance when we're kind of setting down these goals. There's often an overwhelm that accompanies to-do lists for me sometimes. What we'd love this to be is more of a jumping off point. So please, please, please don't worry if things are still forming, still unfolding throughout this session and after this session as well. It's okay if this takes a little bit more time. In fact, we hope it does. We hope that it'll be useful. We hope that you'll come back to this and keep adding to this throughout the summer. So this is just to offer a structure and some useful prompts and some guidance in creating this roadmap, which you can revisit and return to at any point. So here we have our first step in creating this summer roadmap for you. So we're going to clarify that vision. We've got a sense of where we want to be from that beautiful visualization. I'd like us now to write down your main goals for the summer. So we kind of maybe like go for one, maybe two, maybe three at most, but we want to keep it quite close. Let's not overwhelm things. Let's just think about what matters here. So what's the kind of 1, 2, or 3 main things you would like to get done by the end of this summer? This could be anything. So this could be a full draft of a chapter that you're working on. It could be presenting a paper at a conference you're looking forward to. It could be something to do with teaching. You could have prepared your first syllabus for your teaching that's going to happen, going to kick off this autumn, this fall. Trust here that you know what you need to do. So even if things are feeling a little bit up in the air, trust that you know exactly where you need to go. You know your work and your PhD journey best. And I'd love us to write down whatever comes up for us here. So what are the 3 things you would like to achieve this summer? If it feels right, do feel free to post them in the chat. I would love to see what we're all working on for this summer. And as I said, it's okay if these things are taking a little bit of time to clarify. This is wonderful, Annika. I'm seeing you're submitting your MA thesis. This is wonderful. I'm wishing you well with that. I cannot wait for that moment where you hit send, hit submit on that thesis. Jen, I'm seeing you wanting to finish methods and results chapters and develop your writing habits that can be adapted to these long semesters. This is wonderful, and you're going to support yourself while working full time. This is incredible. Again, can't wait for that moment where you get to celebrate all of this hard work and really enjoy these sustainable, helpful, supportive writing habits that you're going to set up. I love this. Gabrielle, you're finishing your chapter that you're working on, you're presenting at an upcoming conference. This is wonderful. Best of luck for that in late July. This is just wonderful. Oh my gosh, I also love this. Just go out more. This is wonderful. We'll be thinking in how to incorporate that time away from our research in just a short step. So you're already ahead of us there. This is wonderful. Thank you for sharing that. Okay, again, these might be still forming. Let's move on to our next slide now. So if Kaylin, you'd mind taking us on, thank you. This is our second step. Okay, so this may look a little bit overwhelming, but all it really is breaking down those goals. So we're going to have 3 streams here. So June, we're already making our way through June. We've got July, we've got August, we've got lots of time. We've got our vision. All we need to do now is to break it down, to scaffold your summer with tangible milestones. If anyone is a fan, like I am, of KT's gamified sessions on the scholar-led sessions for Accepted, these are like our guideposts that KT uses. So these guideposts, they are mini milestones, which we'll use to make up your summer roadmap. So we'll break down, we'll plan out what needs to happen each month to be able to meet that end goal at the end of August, at the end of summer. Again, this is going to support, going to direct, and going to further your journey where you can celebrate meeting these every step of the way. Because I think what trips me up sometimes, or what definitely tripped me up in my PhD, was often my like to-do list would be finish chapter or submit PhD towards the end. That made me more anxious because I'd be like, oh gosh, I'm so far away from that. My God, how am I going to do this? But actually, by breaking it down, by breaking it down into doing some research, doing some secondary reading, going back to my primary texts, mapping out a plan for that chapter, and then doing some free writing, having like a little daily word count that I'd like to hit that would allow me to find and sustain that writing momentum and to build in those really nice writing habits. And then to also schedule in some editing and some revising time, to schedule in points that I was going to send it to my supervisor. This immediately makes it more tangible, more doable, more realistic than just writing down, submit chapter by end of summer. So this is what we want to do here, this first step. We're just going to break down this big goal into realistic, doable milestones for June, July, and August. What is the best route forward here for you? So, what do you need to have in place at what times? So, if you want a supervision meeting, maybe at the end of July, maybe June, a milestone here is to reach out to your supervisor and go ahead and schedule that, ask for that meeting so you know that you're well supported in July. We've got a couple of examples here on the screen to kind of map out what this could look like for you. So, it's all about just thinking about when you need to do things at what time. Also might be useful thinking about what are the hard deadlines. So what do you need to have in place when? And then work back from there. So jot these down. Okay. Again, these might still be forming, and this is a structure that you can take away for after this session as well. So you can look forward to mapping this out. But this is the structure we have in place to be able to support this sustainable momentum, this progress. Just for the purposes of time and moving through this session, I'd love to now invite us to go to our next steps. That's our next slide. Kaylin, if you wouldn't mind. Thank you. So our next step is scheduling in some time away and some time resting. We may have already started to do this, and this is wonderful, but I'd like to invite you to write in your time away and your time resting. So if you have any time off, any lovely holidays, any trips you're looking forward to, any social activities, maybe friends' birthdays. I've got a couple of friends who are getting married in July, so I'd be scheduling those in my summer roadmap. I'd love you to add them into the mix. So we'll really map them out. Time away from work is vital in sustaining your momentum and your well-being. And I'd like to challenge you maybe to write in a rest goal for each month. We all know that that rest can take many different forms as well. So play around with whatever suits you best here. Again, we've got some examples on the screen. Maybe we're going to have some time traveling around our conference trip that we're planning in. Maybe rest, maybe time away is a beautiful yoga class. Maybe it's like a YouTube yoga class, and like whatever rest looks like to you. Maybe it's popping out to your favorite coffee shop once a week. Maybe it's trying out a new craft each month. I'm kind of picking up knitting for what feels like the millionth time this summer, and I'm excited to do a bit of crafting as well. This is time away. This is time resting. This is really important. So whatever rest looks like for you, make sure at least there's one form of rest for June, for July, for August. And again, I'd love to hear in the chat what kind of rest are you scheduling in? What kind of rest are you going to celebrate? Have you any exciting trips away? I would love to hear in the chat if anyone would like to share. Okay, while we're thinking some time away and some time resting, we're writing those in, we'll move forwards to our last step here. So this is our next slide. This is tying everything we've moved through this session together. So I'd like you to think back to those beautiful anchors that Clea invited us to consider. So what would those anchors look like in practice here? So this is all about thinking, how are we going to maintain our momentum, how to support us, how to support every step of the way, how to support every milestone, every guidepost that we've just mapped out, and how we're going to support ourselves in really holding ourselves accountable and taking that rest and taking that time away. This could be a number of things. So again, this will look different for everyone here. But what's one weekly practice you'd like to commit to this summer for June, July, and August that will help you keep that momentum, even when things feel a little uncertain, a little bit chaotic? Could be something like showing up to one PhD in writing, our writing retreat every week. Could be something as simple as protecting a couple of hours a week for some planning, some admin, some resetting, or some rest. Could be it could be a sleep goal. It could be a writing goal. We could be wanting to pen maybe 100, maybe 200, maybe 500 words a day, even messy ones. This is all wonderful work. Could be journaling, could be sending a friend a voice note, could be checking in with an accountability partner or buddy. All of these things, they can act as anchors that can center us and ground us. We can return to them throughout the summer, throughout the rest of June, July, and August, and they'll support us in really meeting those milestones, being able to celebrate those. This is also to say that it's absolutely fine and really natural if at some point this summer you feel a little bit lost or a bit disconnected or a bit overwhelmed with research. This can be part of the process. What matters here is that we don't beat ourselves up for feeling that way. It doesn't mean just because we're feeling a little bit lost in the process, it doesn't mean that we are lost. We can always return, we can find those anchors, we can restart, we can recenter, and we can begin again at any point. So the important thing here is showing up and engaging in those small steps. So by engaging in those small steps, however small, you'll be able to see the way forward, and that's the way you'll move and progress in that summer roadmap. So this is all to say, we hope this is a useful and helpful guide, a structure that you can use and that will offer that solace, will offer itself as a reminder that you're on track, not behind. You can use it to remember that joyful feeling that I hope we tapped into in Clea's visualization at the start, about that joyous feeling about looking back on a beautiful dissertation summer. We've achieved everything, and this is the exciting energy. This is the roadmap that will get us there. So thank you all for engaging in that. Again, I'm excited to hear a little bit more about them, maybe as they unfold over the next couple of days, maybe the next week as well. I'm going to hand back over to Kalia.
Oh, thank you so much, Polly. That was so great. And I was having a great time in the chat, just commenting and just witnessing all the amazing goals that you all have. So we know you all can do it. And so we're just looking forward to, hearing about your progress this summer. So now we just love to just transition a little bit and just talk about some of the takeaways from our time together so far. We have, we started with a framing, we moved to a visualization where hopefully you got to have a embodied sense of what you feel you love to be true by the end of the summer. You've taken some time to outline your goals. You all have done a great job, also like being intentional and holistic in your approach for the summer. We talked about hiking and silent retreats and lots of other ways that you all want to integrate rest and care into your summer. I loved again just hearing about, I just want to go out more, right? As scholars, we spend so much time inside on our laptops. So I know an intention I have for the summer is to like take my laptop outside a little bit more. So even though I do have some, work to do, maybe I can, do it with a better view. So again, loved everything that you all have shared. And so now we want to just invite some really intentional takeaways. And so if you can just put in the chat just what you are taking away from our time together so far. But also I love to turn the mic on. I'd love to hear maybe from two of you if possible. And Kaylin, I'll need your help with this potentially. I'm not sure if they have the ability to unmute themselves, but could we hear from maybe one or two people if they just want to share about what this has been like so far and the takeaway? And I am seeing things drop in the chat, so we can highlight some of that. Words of affirmation, validation were helpful reminders. Beautiful. Laura saying one thing I'm taking away from the session is being intentional with my time, including taking time off. Yes. Others are sharing the roadmap, wanting to follow, having the roadmap to follow, as well as embracing everything else that is present. Yes. Honoring yourself as a whole person. That rest and thinking are part of the work. And it is important for me to be intentional about the rest as a part of the process. It is key to successful outcomes. It is. Just here in PH Done, just last month, our theme was around holistic well-being, and we had a community call themed around rest, and it was such a beautiful conversation. We got to talk about the reasons why we often feel hesitant to rest or because we've been socialized and conditioned to believe we have to earn it, right? And so there's a lot to unlearning those really harmful frameworks. And so we are here to remind you and affirm you that it is absolutely part of the process. And it's not just part of the process, it's essential to deepening your capacity so that you can do the good work that you intend to do. Okay, so I'll offer again before we move forward. I'm happy to also read a couple more reflections, but would anyone want to come off mic and share with the group? Someone sharing visualization technique, roadmap, importance of support system. Beautiful. We have Kate.
Okay, because I have hosting, I can't apparently raise my hand.
We'd love to hear from you, Caitlin.
Um, and I felt bad, like not, yeah, hopefully me standing up makes somebody else hopefully encouraged to unmute. But what I found was that I had set these like two very, I would say rather severe goals. But when you actually break it down with the timeline and also budget in time rest and thinking about thinking realistically, when I've achieved, submitting this rough draft, I'm going to need downtime and having to budget that in and thinking about being a little bit more realistic and actually seeing it mapped out. One, I think like helps me set a realistic standard. But two, being able to break it down and say like, oh, after I submit that thing, I'm going to give myself a week of no dissertation thinking. And, I am likely going to have trouble reading that much or like doing that much this week because I have this other thing going on because I'm opening my calendar while going through and making out that roadmap. That was very helpful. Which even coming from me, who does a lot of planning and does a lot of goal setting, it was really helpful to have that reminder.
Beautiful. Thank you for sharing, Caitlin. And I love you um building in that week for yourself after. I think that's something that is so important. It's so important to allow yourself that time just to rest, integrate, also tend to the things that kind of had to go to the wayside, right? Like while you're in that sprint. So beautiful. Thank you for sharing. I see Mark has his hand raised. We'd love to hear from you, Mark.
Yeah, thank you, Kalia. Can you hear me now?
We can. Yeah.
Yeah, one thing that came out was like the whole session, it kind of like tr treating like this like the dissertation stage as like obviously it's like a major event in our career in our journey, but it's like something that like it can be it like it treats like the dissertation as something like exciting. Like this is something that like we're we're discuss like we're not necessarily like discovering something, but we're learning like how to like what we've what we've what we're about to even like the small things we're about to discover, and like the fact that we're like doing this like journaling, this visualization technique, like considering like so many different factors like your momentum and your anchors, and like and it just makes like whatever you do in this like in this stage in this dissertation stage is you're fine you're trying to make it more worthwhile and a lot more like fun because we're human beings, like we're very curious and curious individuals, like we're meant to go meant to go exploring, and like seeing the chat there's people like going on like silent retreat. So like I'm very happy, like if there's like one thing to take away, I'd probably say something like this one, just to stay curious and keep exploring.
Oh my goodness, Mark. Thank you for coming off mute. That was so beautiful. And I think you articulated honestly so well the heart that Polly and I have behind not just PhD, but specifically even this session, the way we talked about it. We were like, yes, like we want you all to feel joy about how you get to approach this process. And yes, that can be challenging when, there is lots happening on the outside, political climates and such. But we chose, right, to pursue these degrees and to engage in scholarship at a very high level. And we can honor that choice by honoring ourselves in terms of honoring that we are whole people. And we get to bring every aspect of that into this process. So thank you for beautifully summarizing, the heart of the session and for your presence here. We're thankful. Okay, I'm going to get back to the chat. I'm going to give it back to Polly, and I'm going back to the chat and read and comment. Thank y'all so much.
Oh, can I just echo Kalia's thanks, Mark and Kaylin, thank you so much for sharing those on mic, and thank you to everyone for sharing in the chat. This is just wonderful. Mark, I loved what you said about this is, as Kalia said, exactly what we're thinking about with PhD Done. The PhD is a wonderful part of your life. It doesn't have to be the whole of it. I think when I was doing my PhD, I really fell into that trap. It really encompassed everything. I put everything into it, and that's when it got really rocky for me. So if we think about it as not something that takes up all of this, but actually something that that benefits, that expands, that nurtures this element of our lives, it's a learning practice, like you said. We learn how to do a PhD and we get to make all of these amazing learning achievements along the way. We get to grow and expand our own knowledge, and what a beautiful, brilliant and important and valuable thing to nurture that critical thought, to nurture that process of learning. This is just wonderful. So thank you so much. I really resonated with what you said there, Mark. I was actually gonna this is like the next part of this, which I'm so excited to do, is to share a little bit more about PhD Done and what it is as a program. I kind of feel like I don't need to delve too much into this because Mark has summarized it all in this brilliant and beautiful way. It's all about treating your PhD holistically, and not letting not letting it overwhelm your life. Academia really wants us to think that it has to be the end of everything, it's the be all end all. Actually, it's only the start of a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful learning experience. It's going to carry on long after you've hit submit, long after you are PhD done. So what we hope this session has done is to think through what that momentum will look like over summer. And PhD Done is, if you are ready to come on board and to work with Kalia and I and our wonderful cohort of PhD students, PhD Done is here for you all summer long. Yeah, you don't have to do this all alone. Academia wants to tell us that the thesis is the be all end all. It also, there's this myth in academia, in old school traditional academia, that Kalia and I are really trying to combat and to demystify. It's this this idea of isolation, and that we have to be working all the time alone to be able to do this. Actually, that may work for some, and that's really wonderful. That's not how it worked for Kalia and I. So this program is really designed to support community structure, structuring in these tangible writing spaces, these tools, these guides, but it's at the heart of it, it's all about community, connection and support. So if you'd like to learn a little bit more about PhD Done, you can visit the Accepted website, or you can get in touch with Kalia and I at any point. We'll also have some time. I'm aware that it's just coming up to the hour-long point, and we very much appreciate your time, appreciate you being here. If you have to pootle off, that's absolutely fine. If you're able to stay on a little bit longer, we'd love to welcome some questions if you have any for Kalia and I. But yes, essentially it's a program, PhD Done. It's a program that's based on the support we wish we'd had when we were doing our own PhDs. And we are currently so happy to be welcoming new students. So if we hop over to the next slide, Kaylin, if that's all okay. So a little bit of information about PhD Done as a program. So we recommend, Kalia and I, we recommend a 3-month commitment as a starting point, which is priced at $175 per month, or there is a quarterly subscription model, which works out to roughly $124 a month. If you're not ready to make that commitment at this point, we completely understand. We're also offering some of our PhD Done tools. So these are resources and guides that we offer as part of the program. We're now offering them through Accepted's website as one-off investments to support your PhD journey and your dissertation summer. The Notion template is, oh gosh, it's really excellent. I use it daily for my current work as an early career researcher. It's highly adaptable and has all of our PhD Done prompts, our logs, a brilliant task manager that I don't know where I'd be without that. It's got our back to center log, our guide framework that Clea mentioned at the start. It's got logs for seeking support. It's got a space for documenting all your meetings with your supervisors. It's got a little library where you can map out your research and kind of and also just so many spaces for journaling, for mapping out your day in whatever way works best for you. So it's truly brilliant. And then really excitingly, we've just put the finishing touches on our dissertation summer guide, which we're so proud of. It offers our ethos, some words, our guidance, as well as practical prompts, guides, and logs that you can use and come back to at any point throughout your PhD journey. All of this info is available to look at over on the Accepted Society website. And as I said, we're always happy to answer any questions by email as well. So that is a little glimpse into PhDern as a program. I'm going to hand back over to Clea now, and I'll jump into the chat. Again, feel free to ask any questions in the chat as well, and we'll also have some time at the end if we want to hang about here to chat through any questions you might have about the program. But over to you, Clea. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Polly. Thank you all for your presence here. We have enjoyed you so much. We hope that this has been just a bit of nourishment for you on this Sunday, and for the start of your dissertation summer. We leave you with this affirmation. This is my dissertation summer. Rooted, ready, writing. Let's go. We hope that that resonates with you. We know you have the capacity to do everything that you want to do this summer and do it in a way that supports your well-being. Please do connect with us. We put the website in the chat for you. You'll also receive a lovely email in the next 24 hours that we have prepared for you that will also link you again to these amazing opportunities and resources. We also have a worksheet for you that will allow you to work through your roadmap some more if you'd like. And we also just want to encourage you to just stay in touch. We have Accepted Society on Instagram. Polly and I's Instagrams are also there. If you want to screenshot this slide and this affirmation, if that resonates with you and you want to post that and tag us and let us know your goal this summer, we'd love to see it and reach you on and repost you. So again, we're so thankful. This will conclude the formal session, but we now just want to invite, if anyone has questions, we're happy to stay around the next few minutes and support you in any way we can with our responses. Thank you all so much.
Yeah, thank you again. We really appreciate everyone coming along on a Sunday, no less. So thank you for taking the time to be here with us. Thank you for taking the time for yourselves. So nice to see things resonating with folks. So thank you so much for these lovely comments in the chat. It really does mean a lot. If anyone has any questions, you can either raise your hand or feel free to just take yourself off mute, or we'll look out for any questions in the chat as well. Okay,